Hey guys, this is Chris from Full Sync. Welcome to this Final Fantasy Origin Trial Version playthrough. This is basically the demo which was put on the PlayStation Store from Square Enix after their presentation, their E3 show last Sunday. It's basically a 30-minute demo, pretty much, at least on normal difficulty, shall we say. Yeah, and it's a very unique feeling for a Final Fantasy named game, but it's definitely fun, at least for those who enjoy it, or enjoy these types of Neo and Souls games. In fact, it was developed by Team Ninja, the developers of Neo and Neo 2. Yeah, let's get into it.
Looks like chaos has been waiting for us.
You gonna make us go in there and find you?
Guess we'll just show ourselves in.
So as you can see, my character has been customized a little bit, given you carry over the progress from previous playthroughs. And this is where you can equip and change your equipment. You can equip anything, basically, like head, torso, sword, gloves, shins, and boots. You can have multiple classes, as we've seen, which are interchangeable with the triangle button. Very handy indeed. And this is the combo ability screen, where you can slot in special moves after to make combos, like after 1 slash, 2 slashes, 3 slashes, and so on. Some abilities cannot be slotted in all of them, but like the piercing thrust can only be slotted after 2 strikes or more. So apart from those limitations, you are free to select and customize all your combos. And this is the difference which our equipment currently makes. These are the parameters which you can also see from the pause menu. And we can start our adventure here. These are basic pause menu which restore HP and stamina. And we can also take a look at the job trees, which is almost filled out because of the earlier playthrough which I mentioned. This basically works very much like an MMO game, where the more you increase your level, you increase skill points, and you can slot them into the tree.
Enemy spotted.
Time to go to work.
Let's talk a little bit about the combat of the game. Apart from the obvious health gauge which enemies have, you can also have that yellow bar beneath the health bar. That is the break gauge, basically. You also have one too, which is a neat addition for a game of this type. Basically, if you deplete the gauge, you will trigger the soul break mechanic, which is an instant execution, basically. And that will also restore a little bit of MP. You can also trigger the soul shield to interrupt an attack, which basically works similarly like a parry. As you have seen, it restored a little bit of MP to our character. And another very neat mechanic of the soul gauge is that you can steal abilities from enemies, as you have seen here. We're stolen the stone throw, and that will enable us to almost deplete the break gauge in full. Then we were a couple of hits, and the enemy could be then executed with the circle button.
There.
Let's take it down.
If you notice, the music as well is really hectic and not typical of a Final Fantasy game. as this is the first rather tough enemy that we have to face in the game.
Guess if darkness wasn't bad enough.
And that's it. The break gauge is full. You can execute them. And we can finish off the thing that is blocking our way. It feels very brutal.
Nice one, Jack. Now let's see what secrets this place is hiding. Up ahead.
Don't stand a chance.
So once again, we have stolen the attack from our enemy with the soul shield. I know it's kind of useless to fight fire with fire, but I learned that in this game, if you shoot fireballs at those fire enemies, they will self-destruct. So why not take advantage of that mechanic? And as you can see, there's a lot of equipment which is dropped by enemies. That is really helpful. Hopefully it's not a trial thing and it makes it into the full game, because it lets you completely overhaul whatever equipment you have and keep on collecting. One thing which I also hope will be in the finished game is that you can use your low level gear, because if you find something high level, your previous gear will be obsolete. So I hope that there will be actual uses for your low level gear. Like maybe you can dismantle them and craft some new gear or something, but it's just a thought. That's the last enemy done. We can continue on. The gear which you can find in this game is basically, some of it is very class specific. Like caster gloves, the name implies that they are fantastic for caster classes. Basically this bit we have to use the magic. I'm not really a fan of using the magic in this game because the sword feels really good, but this bit like makes you train your magic uses.
Let's go.
There's also a Lancer class, which you can level up to be a Dragoon, just like Swordsman into a Warrior. I'm also not a big fan of the Lance mechanic, mostly because of how well I found myself with the sword, so I couldn't really get into it. But that basically means that there's something for most people, so it's definitely a pro and not a con of the game. A little bit of healing with the health potion. I'm not gonna lie, it feels way too satisfying to use the circle button to do those execution type cutscenes or motions, because you can't really call it an execution since you punch it down a pillar. Those red particles refill our MP gauge, and the MP gauge, apart from enabling us to do the special skills, also lets us activate Lightbringer, which is this mode where your standard attacks do far more damage to the break gauge. As you can see, 2 swings and our enemy is already at half break gauge. Also, when enemies explode after their break gauge is empty, they give enemies close by further damage, as well as affect their break gauge as well. So you can really combo off this mechanic to get a lot of sudden kills. As you see, a very brutal execution to that Alpha Wolf enemy. And we're going ham a little bit here, killing all the wolves in the room. Our AI gets the job done. As you can see, we're covered in blood here. It's not a typical sight for a Final Fantasy game. We collect all the loot, which has been dropped by all the enemies. As we said, there's plenty of loot to collect in this game, so if the RNG gods are in your favor, you will definitely find a piece which can take your game to the next level. We have found a shortcut here, which can take us to an earlier floor. It'll enable us to heal up and create a checkpoint for us. When you die, you respawn at the last one of those spheres you have touched. And time to continue with our adventure. As you can hear, the music once again is very unorthodox for a Final Fantasy game. But still, I really got into it. Once again, Lightbringer. Really awesome mechanic.
I hate bats.
Combat can get a little hectic in times, but a couple of battles into the game and the feel right and as a chain of explosions gets the job done. Don't mind if I use a potion here. As you can see to the lower right of the screen, the purple button with the square prompt is the ability which we have stolen from that bat, which is the Supersonic Wave, which affects greatly the break meter, the break gauge of the enemies, and we shall put it to use here.
We got company.
See how the break gauge just instantly depletes. Let's just have an easy execution here. We can take another Supersonic Wave from this bat. one of the special abilities, which can be set up into the combo, as we have seen the piercing shots, which is another one. They consume MP, but striking enemies will restore it anyway. So if you're surrounded by enemies, you might as well can use these abilities to get the upper hand. Once again, the game is really brutal. Like, it's really something. But you get a sense of, like, finish him each time you do these executions. As brutal as they are so enjoyable.
Cut him off with the sword.
Once again, we collect
Finally a break.
loot, which our
This'll
enemies
take
have
us straight to
generously
the
dropped
tower.
to the ground. Could be a good time to use a potion, but spotting the sphere will let us heal back and serve as a checkpoint as well.
Lucky.
So no need to waste one of those 7 potions we have left.
Let's go.
Can't lose with Jack here.
The red attack, the bone stab, which we saw the skeleton attack, one of our AI colleagues, is unblockable, and you cannot parry it either. So you can only dodge it, which makes this game very much reminiscent of a Souls game, where you need to be careful of your opponent's attacks and choose your timings carefully. One thing which we haven't mentioned either is the break gauge, which we ourselves have. Basically, if you parry an attack, that will deplete some of that break gauge as well.
Enemy spotted.
Time to go to work.
As you can see at the bottom, that took quite a bit of our break gauge as well. It's probably to stop players from abusing this gauge, as it's quite powerful. Getting hit will also deplete this gauge, so you really need to be careful in combat. And it restores relatively slowly. So you need to pick your spots when to parry and when to dodge, so that you're safe. Neat little execution on the Griffin as well. Never gets old, to be honest. So basically now we need to find a key to open the door at the end of this great hall. I'm talking from experience because I've already played through this demo before.
Let's see what's inside.
Warm welcome.
I don't stand a chance.
Supersonic Wave once again. Use it on some stacked enemies. The bats are somewhat of a nuisance to fight, but stealing their Supersonic Wave is very, very rewarding. That's it, all the enemies are defeated. The only thing that stands in our way is chaos.
Darkness is so thick I can taste it. This is it, no doubt.
Time to level up the last skill of our swordsman job tree, which enables us to take the warrior job tree. This is a similar mechanic to Final Fantasy XIV and its secondary jobs or advanced jobs, like taking a pugilist into level 30, which then transforms him into a monk. I have to say, I really love the MMO style classes that the game brings, even though it's mostly a hack and slash Souls-like game.
Chaos.
No. I am to become him. And who are you?
We're here to kill Chaos.
The prophecy's very own Warriors of Light.
Really?
He always wore such splendid armor, with a helmet that was terrifying to behold.
It's Garland!
No. I am to become Chaos.
As you can see, the Soul Shield is the most important mechanic in this fight, because you can parry pretty much all of his attacks. Once again, it's very reminiscent of Souls-like gameplay, because you memorize an enemy's pattern.
Waste away to nothing.
And then just be as careful as possible not to get hit.
Wait!
So this is what darkness does to humans. Keep it alive. No, he doesn't.
This is putting a damper on our fun. Think you can help us out?
In the second stage of this fight, the attack patterns change slightly. And right there we were broken when the burst gauge reached nil. We have a break stage on our character as well, which makes sense since we have the break gauge like our enemies.
Now we're talking.
And that's it. Chaos is dead, or what was to become Chaos is dead, and we've completed the demo. Nice little picture of the trio. And the demo is finished. A nice little screen thanking us for playing the game. And after you finish the game for the first time, a survey will pop up, and it's basically a number of questions which go into detail about your experience with the game. So it was pretty much quite an enjoyable experience, to be honest. The game plays very well. I enjoyed my time with it a lot. I think I've beaten it 4 times by now. Unfortunately, the AI feels a little bit underwhelming, as your partners don't attack anything unless you start attacking it first. And most of the times, your enemies always attack you instead of your teammates, unless they are really close to you. And that is a little bit underwhelming of the whole demo, but I think it's mostly a positive experience, and I cannot really wait to see more of this. Hopefully it doesn't have a very long release date. I mean, we're talking about a Final Fantasy game in the end, but yeah, hopefully it doesn't take that long to find out, or at least more information about the game. I'll definitely be on the window looking for more opportunities to cover this game for you. And yeah, I think that's it. This has been Chris for Full Sync, and until next time, thank you for watching, and goodbye.